Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on Africa 24 English. Against a backdrop of high social expectations and internal debate about the party's future, Professor Elvis Ngolle Ngolle, an influential member of the CPDM, reflects on the electoral strategy, the results of the 7 years terms, and the challenges of this new campaign. Professor, welcome on Africa 24.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be on this very prestigious platform, and I hope we can exchange with your millions of viewers.
Of course, Professor. Nearly 60% of Cameroonians are under the ages of 25, with youth unemployment estimated at 10.7% in 2024. In your opinion, Professor, how does this candidate Paul Biya's program respond to this democratic reality, and what levers could actually transform these challenges into an economic opportunity?
Yes, as you know, President Biya, who is the candidate of the CPDM, one of the 12 candidates for this election, had in the last presidential election of 2018 and during the last 7 years of this mandate, had taken the engagement in his manifesto, not only to improve the conditions of living of all Cameroonians without exclusion, but to ensure that by 2030, as a country, as a nation, we attain the level of an emerging country. And during the last 7 years, through the political program that he had put in place and the government policies that he has put in place in the last 7 years, we've seen that he has continued to embark on policies that will ensure that, on the one hand, the conditions of living are improved for the majority of us, if not all of us, but that will continue to be on the path of attaining this emergence by 2030. And we've seen that through sound policies at different levels. If you observe the work that the Ministry of Economy and Planning has been doing, the work of the Ministry of Finance has been doing, first, there has been sound financial management and sound and prudent decisions as far as, let's say, taking of debts and how they manage the debt and how they manage our finances and our budget. These have resulted, this package of policies has resulted in sort of a steady, constant and consistent growth of the economy in spite of all the problems, where about 4 to 5% the economy has remained at that level of growth.
You actually spoke of the 2030 agenda plan of Cameroon, but we are already in 2025. Do you think our emergence plan come 2030 is actually still feasible? It is
feasible. I mean, why wouldn't it? Cameroon has the best minds, economic minds. We have good stuff. Our citizens, there are Cameroonians, there's expertise in Cameroon which sometimes we take for granted.
With what has been implemented so far?
With what has been implemented so far, all that we need is that everyone should be involved, everyone should show good faith, and everyone should be committed to make sure that what has already been put in place, if you look at the various programs in terms of infrastructures, in the energy sector, in the mining sector, in the communication sectors, in the high-tech sector. You see that in the higher education sector, you see that there is already a base for us to take off. In the port development sector, I mean, you see that the Kribi port is now working. In the mining sector. So it's already in place. What we need to do is that everyone should be committed, everyone should be engaged, and the fight against corruption should continue. And that is why, one of the reasons why I continue to believe that President Biya's offer, President Biya's political program is the best, because it includes all that you need in order for us to get to that 2030 emergence. And he has not relented. He has, as we've heard in the last few discourses that he has made, he's still determined to get to that point of emergence in 2030, in spite of the problems. The problems are there. because he's sure the president believes in Cameroonian expertise. We have experts in all the corners, whether you take in your own profession or you take in the economic profession, you take in every profession. Cameroonians have the expertise. But what we need now is to overcome our particularisms, to overcome our egos, to overcome our petty-mindedness, and to make sure that we see nation, we see the general interest, we see the common interest, we see the common future, we see the grandeur of our future. For everyone to see that, let us forget our small minds and our small petty projects and our selfishness. Let us work for the nation, and you see that with that engagement, all the expertise that's in place, and as you know, President B has clearly opened up to the diaspora, for the diaspora to come in. Of course, the diaspora is crying. We've heard they want to have, for example, double or multiple citizenship nationalities. And I think that the diaspora, the openings are there. It should not give up. That with the diaspora, working together with all those who are within the country, we shouldn't give up. We are going to get there. It's a matter of faith. It's a matter of commitment. It's a matter of engagement. It's a matter of opening of our minds and putting down our selfishness and our petty-mindedness, and we're going to get that. Because, for example, corruption. I think that the CONAC and the other institutions that are working against corruption are doing a good job to remind all of us that we need to be serious about how we manage public affairs, how we manage public finances for the common good. Once everybody gets to that, I'm very convinced that we'll get there. I mean, Cameroon
you brought up a very critical point, corruption, which entails transparency. But a lot of Cameroonians today still doubt the transparency of electoral institutions. So what mechanism have you or your party or the candidates you represent put in place to actually eradicate this phenomenon during the elections and to actually make credible the 12th October 2025 elections?
Yeah, first of all, the CPDM party that I belong to is proud to support all the government policies that are aimed at improving the performance of the institutions. So you've seen that in electoral terms, Cameroon has improved from when Minat used to manage the elections. Cameroon has improved from when we used to have a very local sort of ballot boxes. Now we have transparent ballot boxes. We moved from Minat to Elekam to Onel 1, Onel 2, and now we're at the level of Elekam. And we've gone to digitalization. Perhaps it's not yet complete. Some people want it to be complete, but nobody is against complete or total digitalization, because we are a modern country and we want full modernity. But what gives us hope is that Elekam, which is the institution that the Constitution and the electoral law recognizes as being the manager of elections in Cameroon, is doing a wonderful job, has done a very wonderful job. The electoral board and the electoral management team, they've been doing a very good job in trying to consult, to open up to all the stakeholders, to include all the stakeholders, to make sure that there is transparency, accountability, and to make everybody feel at home. And so that is a very good method. I'm sure that there are many opposition parties which will say that Elekam has done a very wonderful job in making sure that everybody sees what they are doing.
Professor,
so there is an effort.
You spoke of a transformation of darkened boxes to transparent boxes.
Yes.
But don't you think transparency should be with the population towards the candidate they are voting for? How do you think your party or your candidate is implementing digitalization to actually lay emphasis on the transparency of votes in Cameroon?
Yes, our party the CPDM is all for anything that is transparent. The CPDM supports any effort that the government takes as far as transparency is concerned. You've never heard that the CPDM has blocked anything that Elekam wants to do. The CPDM supports government policies and government efforts, the state, in trying to, as you say, transform and improve on the performance of the electoral process and the electoral institution. Some people have made all kinds of arguments. I've heard they have advanced proposals, for example, two-round elections. I've heard about that. For example, a single ballot. I've heard about that also. These are all ideas. And Elecam obviously has also received all these proposals. The important thing is that in the spirit of the Republic, there is no one party which has all the answers. We are all together working for the good for our common good, for our Republic. And I think everyone who has an idea, no matter what party you belong to, you are free to make that known. You are free to propose it to the government. You are free to propose it to Elecam. And I think that with time, the changes that we have seen since the 1990s, we'll continue to see more changes. I'm sure that as we move on, there will be a continuation of changes in the electoral process. I don't think that anyone is against any changes in the electoral process. We want to continue to evolve with everybody, because it's a republic of inclusion. It's not a republic where for some and not for others. And so people should not think that because they belong to another political party, therefore those who belong to, let's say, the CPDM, we are against them. No, we are not against anybody, and we are not. Nobody has any interest in excluding anybody. Nobody is excluded. The important thing is that we should all believe in the spirit of the Republic. We should all abide by the values of the Republic, so that the Republic becomes our biggest stake. It is not our private interest of belonging to a party that is the most important, because it's easy to say I belong to this party X or Y, but the party that we should all belong to, which is superior to our various small political parties, is the party called the Republic. The Republic is bigger than our small political parties, and that is a bigger stake than what your party does. So do what you can do within your party, but make sure that we all converge, we all meet at the Republican Square, where we all talk about the values of the Republic, in the spirit of the Republic, so that what is good for the Republic is good for all of us. So
Professor,
we are not against
You're
any
definitely
progress.
preaching patriotism, but
Yes.
Cameroon for the last couple of years have been plagued by security crisis, notably in the Northwest and the Southwest. So how does your candidate's program plan to sustain peace in order to improve daily life in these regions?
Yes, we understand that our patriotism has been shaken by the problem that has come up in the Northwest and Southwest in the last 8-9 years, where a part of the country, in 2 regions, young people decided to take up arms against the rest of the country, against their country. And the good thing, the good news is that, and I still say, in the spirit of the Republic, the President of the Republic, head of state, has given instructions to the government of the Republic to make sure that dialogue is given priority. And through dialogue, a lot has been done. Many measures have been taken through dialogue to bring about peace or appeasement. And we've seen that these measures have produced some fruits, because we see that peace has returned relatively so. Transport, agriculture, education, social life has returned in many of the divisions and in the subdivisions and in the council areas, both in the Northwest and Southwest. We still have some flashpoints every once in a while, but most of that violence, we don't see it anymore. Why? Because dialogue has given fruit, but dialogue is a process. Dialogue, yes, we had a grand national dialogue in 2019, but that process continues. I see that the process continues because dialogue, by definition, is a process. Sometimes it's evenemential, it's an event, but then you don't have to only limit it to an event. Dialogue is a continuous thing. It's sometimes official, it's sometimes non-official, it's sometimes contextual. Dialogue is part and parcel of the values of the Republic. And I'm very glad that the President has remained on the path of dialogue. But he has not only limited himself to dialogue. He has included reforms, political reforms. judicial reforms, educational reforms, and new laws have been passed.
Grand national dialogue as a possible key solution to restore peace and security in the northwest and southwest region, but till date, and we saw schools resuming few weeks ago, I must say, but some rural areas in these English-speaking regions of Cameroon still remain frozen as children are still not yet going to school. So what strategies are you currently implementing for the population to actually come out there and resume their lives like they used to be?
Yes, I agree with you that you still have some areas where the problems are still there. But again, as you say, we should appreciate the progress that has been done. And all of us are working, and we support the government. At least our party, the CPDM, supports the government in making sure that we get at 100%. And you ask, what is being done? What is being done is that civil society has been included, particularly our churches. They've been given a lot of, the government trusts churches and civil society. We ourselves, elites, cultural associations, we are getting involved to make sure that we go back to the base, educate, hold meetings, and try to empower. You see parliamentarians, senators, members of government, party officials, going out there, giving scholarships, giving gifts, and trying to improve on, we contribute to the running of certain secondary and primary schools through what you call parent-teacher association initiatives that are taken. These are all measures to cultural and development associations. These are all measures to bring back life, to bring back confidence. And we think that with time, you know, those who begin, when the people began this violence, usually we in political science or international relations will say the author of violence can never be guaranteed that he or she is going to be the winner at the end of it all, because you can begin something, violence, but you're not sure how it's going to end. Those who took up arms illegally and those young people, I think that through reform, through dialogue, the government, the head of state has assured everyone through the programs she has put in place, reconstruction programs, presidential plans, DDR centers, and so forth and so on, to assure the youths that the future is theirs. And the president has continued to commit himself. If you followed his last discourse that he had with them last 11th February, that he is bent on making sure that the youths get their rightful place in the Cameroon of emergence. And he's dedicated to doing that. As I said some time ago, if the youths really want to have a better future, they are better off sticking with the bird in hand. As we were taught in primary school, a bird in hand is worth 1 million in the forest. You have a bird in hand, and it's the person of the president.
You're actually talking about a promise,
yes,
which has not yet been accomplished.
Yes.
Meanwhile, many Cameroonians are demanding that political promises be followed by visible results. In your opinion, which areas, health, education, infrastructure, or energy, could promise noticeable results by 2026 if Paul Biya is re-elected?
I think that in the areas of education, in the areas of health, in the areas of energy, in the areas of services, in the areas of TIs, high tech, I see that there is a future that is bright. It's bright. I think that our future is bright in these areas. Sure, there's a lot of effort being made in the areas of, for example, road infrastructure. A lot is being done. But we can see that in many places, people are still complaining that they need more roads. We have to appreciate the work of the Ministry of Public Works, trying to do their best. That so far, I think they gave the latest statistics that how much they have been able to do over the years. And I think that all that we have to do is to continue to work towards a sane economy, a well-managed economy, and that in those sectors that touch directly on the lives of our people, that these sectors take off and improve. I'm particularly amazed, and I'm particularly very, very impressed that our youths have been very creative and very dynamic, particularly in creating enterprises in the high-tech sector. We have Silicon Valleys in Boya, in other places. That's incredible. I think that, and the government is encouraging that. So, and we see professionalization of education that is going on everywhere. I suspect that the future is bright. We have no reason to give up, because nation building is a constructive exercise, but you have to be optimistic.
Professor, what remains very pertinent at the moment is actually the high cost of living. So how does your candidate, President Paul Biya, intends to combat or curb this phenomenon? Yes,
I see already that the government has put in place a very serious, deliberate and purposeful measure where the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Economy and Plan, the Ministry of Finance, they are heavily involved and engaged in making sure that inflation is kept at a minimum, whereby now you have street markets or special markets whereby prices of basic things that you and I need are being sold at very low prices. I see the Minister of Commerce himself going to various markets, trying to make sure that entrepreneurs and commercial agents don't exaggerate. And I think it's a way of appealing to each and every one of us to make sure that we are responsible and that we don't take advantage of each other. And I see that employers are also making the effort. Already the minimum wage has gone up a little bit. I think now it's somewhere around either 45 or more. So the minimum wage has gone up. Also, this is one way of fighting unemployment and fighting inflation. I think that the president is committed to this vision. The president is committed to these policies, public policies, and I think that he will continue, because he gave the deadline himself, 2030. For emergence, and emergence means that we live in a Cameroon where we can afford to live under conditions that we can afford, and whereby our lives are improved. And I think this is what we are all in there for, and that is why the campaign is worth the effort.
Professor, in your career as an activist, what were the main reasons that motivated you to join the party, CPDM, and to choose the president, of course, as your candidate? What arguments in favor of your candidate would you present today to those watching you in Cameroon and in abroad?
Yes, I was, a few years ago, I was a young Cameroonian student doing a PhD in political science, specialization in international relations at an American university, the University of Denver in Colorado. And in the 1980s, when I was in my last years of my PhD, we were told that a new president had come in Cameroon by the name of President Biya, and that this new president was a new president who wanted a new Cameroon, a Cameroon of rigor, moralization, and a Cameroon of liberalization and modernization, a Cameroon of democratization. I was so impressed, I was so attracted that as soon as I finished my PhD, I didn't waste time. I packed my bag and came back to Cameroon so I can be part of the new Cameroon and make my little modest contribution. I've been doing that, and I've seen that what the president put out there as his offer, as his political program, in New Cameroon, the Cameroon of Renouveau, as they said, a New Deal, in its different elements, has enabled Cameroon to change, to open up. A Cameroon where young people today feel they can get to the moon. I agree with them. They should get to the moon. They have the dynamism, they have the energy, they have the creativity. A Cameroon where women are free to be what they want to be and where they can be. Women are everything today, which is didn't obtain in 1982. So there is a new Cameroon where there are new horizons, new perspectives, new ambitions, new objectives. That is the Cameroon that I'm part of, a Cameroon that is changing every day. I like to tell Cameroonians that the Renouveau, what they say, New Deal, is actually a program of change. President Biya is a president of change. The president who has changed Cameroon and who is the man of the agenda of change. And as long as you have a president, a leader, who believes in changing a society and changing everybody. Sure, there will be challenges and problems. We all have problems. We don't deny that these problems are there. We are not perfect beings. We are not a perfect society. But we believe that in our imperfections, as human beings, we have the expertise, we have the dynamism, we have the knowledge, and we have we must love our country strong enough to be able to overcome our problems, overcome our challenges, and try to work together to make sure that we attain the objectives for which we are a country. So I wanted to be part of this new Cameroon and to construct this new Cameroon. I'm still in it, and that is why I'm part of the 2025 campaign for President Biya in the CPDM, as I was in 2018 or 2011, and as I've been since 1990, to make sure that this new Cameroon is a new Cameroon for all 30 million Cameroonians. This new Cameroon is a new Cameroon where we see effectively that we are a modern country and that everyone is able to live decently and happily, and that we live together as brothers and sisters regardless of tribe or religion or region.
Professor,
and so forth.
Eventually, as an enthusiast activist of the CPDM, how do you intend to run the presidential campaign?
Yes, the president has already put in place in the circular that he has signed for this campaign to make sure that the campaign is a campaign of elegance, campaign of proximity, campaign of modernity, campaign of decency, campaign of humanism. And in this campaign, we're going to campaign all the way to the nooks and corners, quartiers, wards, villages, wherever. We'll go everywhere. He says that the campaign must be a campaign on one-on-one where we talk with Cameroonians in their tiniest corners. And we talk human talk, we talk home talk, we talk country talk, if you want, to make sure that everyone understands that this campaign is a campaign which is a campaign of the Republic of Cameroon by citizens of the Republic of Cameroon for the citizens of the Republic of Cameroon, no matter who wins. We expect that President Biya will win for the CPDM, but the victory of President Biya and the victory of the CPDM is not supposed to be a victory to the exclusion of others. Those who will not win are not bad people. Those who will not win are not failures. Those who will not win are our fellow Cameroonians, they are compatriots. And we are supposed to, in this victory, make sure that it's not a victory where you insult the others or where you belittle the others. It's a victory where we are going to celebrate all of us together. So, at the end of the day, after October 12, or on the eve, on the day after October 12, we should be able to say that long live Cameroon. All of us are winners. And that is what's important, because elections are not necessarily, the stakes in elections are not only the individuals or the parties concerned. There is there are superior stakes. The stakes are political, the unity of Cameroon, the integrity of Cameroon. Economic, the stakes are economical, the economy of Cameroon, our PIB or GDP. The stakes are the way the world sees us. So these stakes are superior to our little party affiliations or our little. So sure, the law permits us to compete as political party candidates, but in our competition, we should know that there are higher stakes, and these higher stakes are that the Republic is all of us. The Republic is 30 million Cameroonians. The Republic is all these 400 political parties.
Professor,
and the Republic
all
is
Cameroonians are definitely vying for unity. Thank you for answering Africa 24's questions.
It's my pleasure, and I look forward to a campaign with all the other Cameroonians, and hopefully in elegance, Republican elegance, and in Republican values, in the spirit of Republic, we shall have this campaign, which is a campaign of everybody, by everybody, for everybody, and that the victory will be a victory for Cameroon, for all Cameroonians.
Ladies and gentlemen, we draw curtains on this edition of the interview with Professor Ngolle Ngolle Elvis. Stay tuned for more information on Africa 24.